Hey, come on in.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Ron. How's everything?
I'm good.
Great seeing you today.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm excited to be joining you for this lesson.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This is really, it's always a pleasure to go in and actually take the time to see teaching and to be helping teachers with our protocol. Before I begin, do you have any questions around our protocol for a lesson observation?
No. I remember from last year how useful it was, how much data was collected. So looking forward to it.
Well, it's the same kind this year. So we're going to do one where this is mostly about your reflection. Mm-hmm. And so my role in the conference is one, to help you in this planning process. So I appreciate you sending your lesson plans to me ahead of time so we can review the lesson and ask some questions to get a sense for what's going to go on. But my role really is to observe the lesson and help you by collecting data and collecting evidence of the learning that you're hoping to see from your plan.
Okay.
When we finish that, the post-conference from this full cycle is an opportunity for you to take that data. So I'll actually give you my notes, give you the video, because you've selected having video in the classroom to kind of tape what's going on. And I'll also give you the notes from the questions that I ask students, as you wanted to get some feedback from what they're saying. So all that'll go together into your data package. I'll send that to you along with some questions, and you'll have some time to reflect, and then we'll come together in a post-conference meeting.
Okay, great.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds
okay.
excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to think through the lesson and to plan with our pre-conference protocol, think through the different parts of the lesson and what you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. And why don't you start by taking me through it, and we can start out with the lesson objective.
Yeah, the lesson objective is that students are in the midst of an argumentative unit. So we started off with just kind of looking broadly at competitive sports. What are the positives with competitive sports with teens? What are negatives? What are the pros and cons? And so we've gone, and that was really to build in structure for students, mm-hmm. to build in organization for them to be able to kind of, to remember some of the skills that they had done before. Right. Now we've gotten into more nuanced arguments. So today mm-hmm. is really a step up for students, and they're going to really visualize how their essay is going to be laid out. And really in the visualization of that, be able to think about how they can develop a counter argument or counter claim within mm-hmm. it,
right.
And then to be able to flash draft out the essay as quickly as possible.
Okay, well, so that's the main objective today. What are you hoping to see students achieve?
So today, I want students to try to get down an introduction. So the introduction is going to be really important. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to, in the past when students have done introductions, they've done them really at the end of their essay. Or most students have been more comfortable like, okay, this is my claim, this is what I'm, this is what my essay is about. And then when they essay write, getting into those body paragraphs or those reasons. So this kind of takes it up a level mm-hmm. where students are going to get right into that introduction, kind of as previewing some of their ideas. So I want to see, an attempt at an mm-hmm. introduction in which they're able to access possibly some counter arguments within it, mm-hmm. and then get into the actual essay with with the reasons and building in evidence and unpacking those things. So I really want to see a strong production in the writing.
Okay. And how are you going to see that today? What are the ways you're going to be assessing their learning as it goes?
Yeah, so when we get into the lesson, students are going to have a choice. They can either handwrite or type. Mm-hmm. It'll be up to them. So as the lesson gets started, I'm going to be milling around and looking for how students are doing. Mm-hmm. Are they able to really get into the writing process, or are there students who might be stuck or working at a little bit slower pace? And from that, I want to be able to sit down and confer with students, kind of see, is it an issue where, because, something which students could do in this type of lesson is actually change their claim. Like they're in the moment kind of going, oh, if I'm presenting it in this way, so kids could change their thesis or claim, and so that could alter the direction of their essay. So do they just need a little nudge in, in kind of clarifying what it is that they're writing about? Is it an issue that a student really needs to formalize their planning? Because there should be some pre-planning which students have thought about, because we've kind of built up to this, but it's possible that a student is might be a little underprepared, and so I might have to kind of come in and talk in the air through what it is that they're writing.
Yeah. What would good responses look like? What would evidence for you be that things are going according to plan and the student work is at the level of quality you were hoping for?
In their leads, that I can see that they've tried one of the strategies that we've had. I'm going to have some different strategies which help present different viewpoints. If students have tried that and tried to kind of flesh out their arguments within the lead, and also just the production of their writing, like when they get into the nuance of their arguments, that they're able to provide reasons, evidence, unpacking.
Okay, great. And tell me about the lesson itself. What are some of the strategies you're going to use to activate learning and then to actually instruct students?
So when the lesson gets started, I'm going to start with kind of a visualization for the students. I want them to kind of visualize a ski slope. Like, I'm going to kind of throw out there for them, I'm up on a mountain looking down. So there's kind of a visualization aspect that I'm going to be making turns and shifts, but really as a writer we want to be able to visualize those things, looking at different parts. So if students can kind of remember those things in the lesson, then that would be. Do you use that analogy when you go out as you're working with students, tell them that they've hit a mogul or hit a turn? Yeah, and avoid those trees whenever possible.
Good, awesome. So you'll see students applying the skills throughout, and I'll be collecting some evidence of that just through my own note taking as I see you engaging with students, what you're saying to them, questions they may be asking back. How will you wrap the lesson up? What will closure look like?
So really, I don't think most students will finish the essay, because to actually flash draft out an essay in 45 minutes is going to be challenging, 45 to 50 minutes. So, but I want them to get to the point where they really think about there's going to be a closure activity, roses, thorns, next steps, for them to think about what am I successful with, what's really gone well for me, where am I grounded in, what's essay writing, argumentative essay writing, which parts were tough for me, and like what do I need to do now to finish off the essay.
Okay, great. So we've kind of talked through the lesson a little bit. As part of our protocol, my role is really to do the best job of observing for you and give you what you need to reflect on. So one of the ways we do that is with this protocol that links the parts of the lesson and what you might be trying to achieve in each part with some possible questions that I could ask students to get some data and some evidence of their learning. So the way the protocol works is if there's some ones that you've thought about already, wouldn't want you to pick more than 3 or 4, but I can certainly go interview a few students as the learning's going on and bring you back some data in the form of how they answer the questions.
Yeah, great. One question I'm interested in is, why do you think you're learning this? That's always critical if that students think about the bigger picture with what they're doing.
Right. Okay.
A second one is, how is this connected to what you've learned before and what you already knew or could do? Because a lot of the students within this school have spiraled, up through the grade levels, and there is a spiraling of skills. So it's, very curious, and how this is connected not just to this year, but maybe even previous years too.
Right. Do you see do you have a checklist of vocabulary or anything like that you're looking for? Are there some terms you're hoping they'll know, or some skills?
They should be pretty clear when we're essay writing, like talking about, claims, leads, reasons, analysis, and the the symbol that we use for analysis. We're unpacking our evidence. Some of those types of things would be interesting.
Yeah. I'll take verbatim notes as much as I can, so we can look for those things together in the post conference. And then, is there a third question that you'd like?
The third one would probably be, what's the hardest? You're always, as a teacher, you're on the outside looking in, and you think what was hard about the assignment, but it's always interesting for the student to look from the other side of the glass and let you know what was hard for them.
Okay, great. I can ask those three questions. So I'll be in there, like I said, scripting notes. Is there anything you'd like me to focus my attention on during the lesson?
I get if you're watching me, or if you're seeing me, is how many students I'm able to attend to in the lesson, or I think there's going to be some students who are going to be very independent, and my best strategy is to just leave them alone for the most part, just quick check-ins. But how many students was I conferring with, and maybe even the amount of times, because one of my goals will be to get a student up and running. Okay, this is what you need. This is what needs to happen right now. Just a little bit of coaching, and then leave them alone and check back in with them.
Okay. That's relatively easy to track. I don't know the names of everyone in your class. Do you have a seating chart or something that I could use? And if not, I have a generic form I can fill in with numbers, but you'll just have to cross-reference it to students if that's okay.
Yeah, I've got some name. What do you call those, placeholders? So we could use that, or a seating chart.
Okay. Yeah, that will work for me. And I can just collect data, who you've conferred with, and how often.
Okay.
And even whose questions you've asked. So that kind of takes us through the lesson. Do you have any questions about the protocol, or anything else that I can help you with?
No. Looking forward to the lesson. Should be fun.
Just to talk about next steps then is I'll be in the lesson. We'll have a videographer there too, picking up some data for you with video. And then, of course, the student interview responses.
Okay.
The other piece to know is then that we're getting ready for the post-conference. So if there's a minute at the end of the conference, we'll just touch base briefly. Okay. But I'll go away and prepare my notes, and I'll send those to you. It'll probably take a little while to get the video ready. We'll send that to you. And I'll leave you with the reflection questions for the post-conference. And so once you have that data, we'll give you some time. You have overnight, and then we'll have our post-conference tomorrow, where you can kind of talk through how the data that we've shared has made sense to you, and how you see it as, in your reflections on the lesson, what went well, what you want to work on, and what are some next steps you're thinking about.
Yeah, sounds great.
Great. Wow, it's a real pleasure, Tim. Thanks for taking this time and for inviting me in and engaging in this process really openly. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to see learning in your class.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
See you, Tim. Bye.